Hi, welcome to the Vaguely Anime Podcast. I am one of your hosts today, Michael, followed by other host, Sage.
That's me.
And that's all we have. We don't have any other hosts.
No, we don't have any friends.
No. So, Culture Corner.
We should have brought the cat out.
The last time we did that was made the episode very empty. We were just staring at her the whole time. But she is cute because she's my daughter.
I finally started watching season 5 of My Hero. I know, I'm like a year late as usual.
Yeah, when the new season just started.
Damn it. It just started?
It sure did. The first episode came out on Sunday.
God damn it. Yeah, I think I started watching it on Sunday.
I thought you were already caught up.
No, I had watched season 4. And then season 5 was coming out, and I was like, oh, I'm going to watch season 5 as it comes out. And then I absolutely did not.
And then you waited to watch season 5 while season 6 came out.
And then I kind of like, it left my brain for a while. And then I was like, oh shit, I meant to catch up on this. So I started watching it, and I was like, wow, this show is hype as fuck. This show is so good. Oh my God.
Dude, My Hero's great. The people that like shit on My Hero are just losers.
I think if you're shitting on My Hero, you just have objectively bad taste.
Like I think it's a combination of like the if it's popular it must be bad kind of idea.
I hate people who do that. Like I'm the kind of person where like I know I like joke on myself that I'm late to every trend, but it's not because I don't even.
You are late to every trend.
I know, but I don't like actively avoid things because they're popular. I'm just a piece of shit and can't get anything together. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like people who actively avoid things because it's like hype or popular, I'm like, so you're just torturing yourself. Like you're missing out on something that's really good. For no reason.
I mean, yeah. People also bring up, the like problems with it, which are that like most of the women characters don't have any kind of substance.
That's literally every single shonen, though.
Exactly. And then
are you really like? Is that gonna be an argument enough where you're like, I just won't specifically watch My Hero? Well, that's every shonen.
Was it with you when Colin was arguing the point about the random beach episode with all the girls?
I think so, but that was like a while ago.
Yeah, it was like one of the first few episodes.
Right.
And my quote unquote defense was it's a shonen anime. Of course that's going to happen. And also it was a filler episode, so it didn't even matter. And then Colin was like, right, but the only episode devoted to all the women was a filler episode, and it was like
right. No,
a bikini,
but like
version.
I am honestly, I would love to see like actual like fully fleshed out female characters in shonen instead of just being like tangential to the story.
Yeah.
But I feel like especially shonen right now, I mean shonen always was, but even I feel like even more so now is like such a boys club, if that makes sense.
Well, I mean it literally is shonen.
I know.
Little boys.
I know.
Or young boys.
But you know what I mean? Little boys. But you know what I mean? Like, I feel like the market for anime has expanded so much, especially from like the 90s.
Right.
To now, where I feel like I think it's okay if we have some like more.
Oh, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that My Hero shouldn't. It definitely should. And I think like
but I just think it's not going to happen.
Yeah, but I think like comparatively to some of older shows, like someone like Ochako's gotten more character development than like in the past of female characters. Like, and sure, that's not saying much, but like it's still something. So it's at least moving in a direction.
Right.
But like, I don't know. I don't think Ochako in this show specifically has like bad character development. I think she's interesting. The problem is she's just not the focus.
Yeah.
But also, it's part of the problem when you have a cast of fucking 20 children. Everyone's gonna get shafted unless you're the main like 3.
I was gonna say unless you're Todoroki, Bakugo, or Midoriya. Like when I started my like catch up, there were characters that are like, oh fuck, I literally completely forgot about them.
Right.
Because if you have a 20 kid class, obviously there are some that like are gonna have to fall to the back burner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, I kind of wish they did
Best
it.
Boy Coda. Animal talking kid.
Oh yeah. I kind of wish they had structured it in like the way that they have like the big three of like the class above them.
Yeah, that they didn't do anything with.
I mean, yeah, they didn't do anything with them, but you know what I mean? Like, at least have one female who's part of the big three.
Who also does
Oh my
nothing.
God, literally gets nothing. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm somebody who really likes My Hero. I really like the characters. Like,
I love My Hero.
I think where the story is going is so excellent. Like, I think this is one of the best written shonens right now. In like, I would say probably in like the past 10 years.
And as someone that's currently up to date with the manga, I would also agree.
Yeah, I'm not up to date with the manga
Yeah,
because
but the writing is spectacular.
Yeah.
For the most part, like usually it bangs, and there's also some pretty good comedy in it too.
Yeah, I feel like it does a good job balancing like training, comedy, hype, and like I think it does.
And I think it does a good job
is,
at the light and dark of each arc too.
Yeah.
Because it'll have the dark arc and then it'll have a light one.
Right.
You know, you'll go from, like the Yakuza,
oh right.
I forget what the actual name is, but the Chie Saikai or something like that, to the school festival.
Right.
Where you get like them in a band, and
Right.
then you get the villain war or whatever.
Right.
And like, so like it does a good job at like constantly like having those ups and downs. I will say the anime was weird for its choice of like when to do the whole like they combined some weird stuff in season 5. It was very odd.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, from the
I'm only in like episode 3 of season 5.
I'm not gonna spoil or anything, but they did some weird like pacing choices in season 5 where they decided to like combine some stuff. Like they combined a story from My Hero Vigilantes.
Oh, that's like the spin-off, right?
Yeah, which is great, and I kind of hope gets an adaptation because it just finished.
Right.
Like last month, I think. And it was great. But they took an arc from that and just put it in season 5, and everybody was like, "Well, I feel like we're not gonna get an adaptation now."
Well, because I haven't read any of Vigilante. Like, is it related to the My Hero story, or it's like completely?
It's a prequel.
Oh, okay.
The story has to do with Eraserhead. That's why they just ripped a story out for Eraserhead's thing.
Oh, that's kind of weird.
It like relates
right
to everything, kind of, which is why they did it. But it was just one of those moments where everyone was like, "Well, we're not gonna get a fucking Vigilantes thing now." They just went like, "All right, fuck you, just take it out of yours and put it in ours."
Right.
R.I.P.
Like,
great. All right. Cool. So that was a bit of a bummer. But overall, I like the show. I just like all the characters, and the action's great. Like the fight scenes and everything. Like the show looks good too. And people that bitch about it are like not wrong, I guess, about the fact of like the development. Sure, if that holds you back, I guess it is what it is. I don't think it should hold you back. You've been watching shonen for years probably at this point. Like,
right. I just think like I can understand like not being into it because of certain aspects, but I cannot understand being like the mindset of, oh, if something is popular, it can't be that good, then it's like trite or whatever. Because I'm like, that's just not a valid argument.
People made that same argument with fucking Demon Slayer and
I mean, they make it for every argument that like for every show that's popular. Like when Attack on Titan, the first season came out, and it's unbelievable hype train. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because it got a bunch of casuals into it.
Yeah.
Filthy casuals.
I literally don't understand why people are like gatekeeping anime. I'm like, oh, you want to be a nerd in your basement forever and have no friends? Go for it.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
How dare the popular kids start being cool with anime so you can be out of your closet and
yeah,
not get the shit
how
kicked
dare
out of you for it?
Seriously, I like can't understand that. I'm like, as somebody who used to get bullied in like elementary school and middle school because I liked anime, and then like people who were just like regular, like didn't like it, started liking it by the time like high school came around. I was like, good for you. Like, you understand now. Like, this shit's hype as fuck.
Right.
Like, I've been right this whole time, and you're just coming too. You know what I mean?
See,
like,
I got beat up, but just because people hated me, not because I had, not because I liked anime. I didn't talk about any of my interests at school because I didn't like anyone in my school.
Oh my goodness. But it's just weird to me that like people are against like normal people like getting into anime.
The normies.
Like, I just don't understand it because I'm like, all it's done in like the rise of popularity in anime is just produce more anime.
Yeah, and it's done great thing.
Which is good. It's like a double-edged sword because like
is.
the production of anime is just like ridiculous.
A nightmare.
But you know what I mean? Like, you're just getting more good quality shows out of it. So
Yeah.
what is like what are you complaining about?
Cyberpunk Edge Runners.
I
Which
need to
was
watch
a
that.
fucking banger, dude.
That's on Netflix though, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Netflix Joe.
Fucking incredible. No, it's already out. It's done.
No. I just read somewhere that Bleach.
It's coming back.
I know.
It already is back, actually.
But I heard that it was airing on Disney Plus.
Yeah, they bought the rights to do it. Everyone was really pissed.
Yeah, that seems so weird.
Yeah, Disney's also buying up anime titles now.
I mean, didn't they buy Naruto like years ago? Or ship it in at least?
Sony has Naruto. That's why
No,
it's
because
on
I remember
Funimation.
it was on Disney XD.
They might have had distribution rights for a period of time.
Oh, gotcha.
they
For some
don't-
reason, I thought they had like.
No, because it's on Crunchyroll. Sony owns it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's Sony, I think.
Gotcha. But yeah, I saw that and
yeah.
I thought that was such a weird choice. I was like, why does Disney want Bleach of all shows?
Yeah, everybody. Apparently, everybody was very upset because I think they're doing the same format as like Netflix, where it's waiting till it's done. I don't know that I can.
Instead
look it up,
of,
but I don't
why?
know.
They already do weekly release shows on like Netflix.
I don't know. I can figure it out.
Yeah, look it up because I'm curious how they're gonna do that because, like, as somebody, I don't really like Disney as a conglomerate because they're just becoming this bigger and bigger and bigger monopoly, and I like personally can't subscribe to that kind of thing. But at the same time, I think Disney is extremely smart with their investments, if that makes sense. Like, do I like it? No. But also, from a business standpoint, I'm like, yeah, you guys are making fucking trillions of dollars. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, like nobody likes cyberpunk-esque corporations that rule the world, but also there's an argument to be made for conveniency that people will sell their souls for conveniency over anything.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm not gonna sit here and be like, how dare Disney own all of Marvel, so now I can go see the X-Men in movies and stuff. Like, I'm
literally I'm the same. Where like I said, I don't like Disney as a company, but at the same time, when they put X-Men on Disney Plus, I was like, hell yeah, let me go and binge watch X-Men again.
Yeah, so like,
yeah, no,
like it'd be cool if Marvel just owned Marvel and it wasn't Disney, but if Marvel only still owned Marvel, they wouldn't have half the shit they have again.
right?
Because like, they would never be able to fork up that money for the
for X-Men,
Yeah,
they
stuff like
weren't
that.
gonna get Fantastic Four, like
they weren't going to be able to buy Fox. for
right,
that, right,
right, because they had sold all their properties
'Cause they were going
pre
bankrupt in the
MCU.
90s.
Yeah, you know, like pre MCU, and they were like, "Hey, we have all these IPs and nothing to do with them. Let's just sell them out, right?" And then,
yeah.
I mean, I personally really like the first X-Men trilogy, even Last Stand. I know Last Stand is
same.
terrible,
Same,
but I love it.
Last Stand it's a bad movie, but I love it.
It's so ridiculous. Also, I rewatched it recently. I didn't realize this since my most recent rewatch. Last Stand moves at a lightning pace.
Oh yeah.
You blink, and it's like half the movie has gone by already. It is insane how much they try to get done in that, like, I think it's only like 90 minutes too.
Disney Plus will be releasing the episodes weekly.
Okay, that makes more sense in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll be weekly. So there's that. Apparently it'll be like in batches of 4 though. Like that's
Like
how it's airing. No,
4
like,
episodes.
like each part, it'll be like 4 parts. It kind of like what JoJo's doing, I guess. Is what I'm reading here.
I don't understand.
I don't either.
Like they're gonna split up the whole arc into 4 parts.
Apparently. I don't know.
Interesting.
Either way,
okay.
it says that it'll be airing these shows the same day they go out in Japan,
Okay, so like simulcast.
but probably not dubbed.
Which is fine. I mean, Crunchyroll does the same thing.
Yeah, remember that short period of time where they were doing same day dubbing?
That seems like
Funimation
such
was
a
doing that.
fucking nightmare.
Oh, I am sure, but it was great.
I'm sure, but also like I do not want to be that dubbing studio just sweating absolute bullets.
Absolutely not, but it was great.
Yeah.
There will be a simulcast weekly release of episodes on Hulu in the U.S. region.
You know what I always think is
So it's
very
on
funny?
Hulu, not Disney Plus.
Have you ever watched like foreign films that are dubbed but it's live action?
Yes,
Okay, so I was watching
like old kung fu movies.
right, like old kung fu, but
More modern day, yes. I've also.
right. So what was
I watched Parasite dubbed just because I wanted to see what it was like. I did see it twice without it dubbed, just for people like.
So out of curiosity, because did you watch the newest FMA live action on Netflix? Don't. It was terrible.
I'm not gonna hate myself for that.
It was I don't know why. That's like one of my guilty pleasures where I really like watching exceptionally bad like anime live action adaptation movies. But anyway, so I was watching the FMA one, and because the movie is originally in Japanese, and then Netflix dubbed it in English, and it's live action, you're not gonna get those mouth flaps to match at all. So they'll be like talking, and then like 3 words will come out of their mouth. It's so funny.
Yeah. No. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like
Yeah.
it's never good because it's never going to be.
No, you
So-
can't. It's impossible,
Yeah.
like on humans, to make it work, unless you reshot every single scene, which would be a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
But I just think because you can always even if like the voice acting, I feel like for the dubs, I feel like is not very good for some reason.
Yeah.
For like for the live action like anime adaptations, which is weird because I feel like dubbed like voice acting for regular anime can sound really good. Like obviously some of it is shit, but for some reason the live action feels like 90s dubs, if that makes sense.
I feel like it's always gonna feel that way though.
Is it because it doesn't match? Like
It'll
it
never
feels,
match, so it'll
it feels
always
like
look
so
weird.
disembodied.
Yeah, no, it's always gonna look weird. It's like the Uncanny Valley. The one movie that did fix this is I don't know what it was called. I believe it's on Netflix. But what they did is they shot the entire movie. It was a German film. And they shot the entire movie, and then what they did is they had each actor sit in a face scan
Oh,
room,
okay.
and they had them act out every scene again in 3 different languages, so German, English, and I want to say like French or something, so that they had all of the faces doing it, and then they put them on the thing for the
That
which
sounds
version
so
of the movie you took.
expensive though.
But it worked really well apparently.
Huh.
So that was interesting.
That is
Because-
interesting.
Technically, it's just another part of your CGI expense.
Right, because
So,
you're just
yeah.
putting it on top, I guess. I guess you're not having to like reshoot the whole scene. You're just doing it on. You're just pasting it on top.
Yeah, exactly.
But I feel like
well, pasting.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so interesting because I feel like other places. I don't know why, but I'm just picturing like. Do you remember when, for some reason, on Cartoon Network, The Annoying Orange was a show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure, dude. Toby Turner was on that show.
Who's that?
Tobuscus.
I don't know who that is.
The one human in the show.
I never watched it.
Oh, all right.
I'm just using this as an example because
Sure.
of the visuals.
Okay,
How it would be like 3D, like realistic fruit, right?
Because it was live action fruit, yeah.
Right. And then they just pasted on top like
Uh-huh.
human mouths. Imagine they did that for the live action, just pasted on a new mouth.
Yeah, totally.
That would be. That's just what I'm picturing.
Yeah, no, but I don't. It apparently looked pretty good. So there's that.
Right.
I guess that could be an option for the future.
Right.
But you'd have to do that for multiple languages. Who the fuck wants? I don't know. I think it's an interesting solution to the problem. I don't know if it'll necessarily be a solution that everybody will start using, but it's at least an interesting one.
I think it's an interesting solution as well. I also think though, especially where like live action, like anime movies go, I feel like there's a thing with, and I feel the same with like cartoons as well, where when you try to translate it into like live action, even if let's say the dub was perfect, it still doesn't feel right. You just cannot do the same things and get the same effect in live action that you can through animation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree. And then there's the difference of like going back to Cyberpunk, where it's like the difference between mediums and also from video game to anime. Right. Where like, because I've played the Cyberpunk game all the way through, didn't like it. Well, I think it's fun. I didn't like the story because the story made it feel like nothing that you did mattered.
Oh, okay.
Which I know that Cyberpunk stories are supposed to be bleak, and that's the point. I get it. But every choice and ending in that game at the end, all of them felt really boring and not interesting.
Gotcha.
So like, it didn't feel like it mattered what I chose,
It didn't
and then
feel like
not
it
only did
amounted
it,
to
yeah,
anything.
and then not only did it feel like it didn't amount to anything, I actively disliked all of the options. Like, it's fine if all of them need to be negative, whatever, but at least the endings needed to be interesting, and I didn't find any of the endings, the endings interesting enough. So like, then it was endings I didn't like, and they're all negative.
Gotcha.
Instead of like, oh man, like, dang, like I couldn't do anything to make a good ending, but at least this ending's at least interesting.
Right.
You know? But the game, I mean the anime takes place like a bit before the game.
Okay.
And it just takes the world that they built and is like, hey, we're gonna have Studio Trigger take this world and do what the fuck they want with it.
I feel like that's a good choice.
And
I mean,
boy, was it a good choice.
I've seen like the Netflix's, what do you call it, like the trailer or preview that Netflix does.
Yeah. Like when you swipe over it.
Right. On Netflix, I mean, it looks gorgeous.
Bangs,
it looks
fucking
gorgeous.
Bangs. It was so good. Incredible story. The soundtrack was awesome. And I mean, it's Studio Trigger, so it was pretty as hell. And it was so good. It felt like because all Studio Trigger shows are kind of the same,
right?
In a way, in terms of like their broad outline of a thing. Like, small person fights God, ends up in space.
Right.
That's like every show they've ever done.
Right.
But in this one, because it was Netflix, it feels like because Kill la Kill is very fan servicey, right?
Right.
But like it's still like held back because it's on regular TV.
Right.
With Netflix, it was like, hey, everything you do normally, you can now go all the way with. So the director was like, oh, fuck, I can show tits? But hell yeah. And he was like, so there's just titties everywhere. There's dicks everywhere. And
but
it was
in the regard to Netflix, though, like, because is JoJo still on Netflix?
Yes. Sadly.
Because JoJo's on Netflix.
Sadly.
Is, like, censored to hell and back.
Well, yeah, but Netflix didn't make JoJo.
I know.
Netflix paid Trigger to specifically air this on Netflix.
I know,
JoJo is still being aired on TV.
Oh, so they're just getting the distribution.
Yeah, Netflix.
I
JoJo
understand.
is in Netflix jail because it aired
Right.
in Japan.
Right.
You just have to wait for the batches.
I
so that
understand.
they didn't pay. It's not only on them.
Gotcha.
Where Edge Runners is specifically
Netflix is like
it's not
property
airing
kind of
on TV.
I understand.
In Japan.
I understand.
Yeah, so they could do whatever the fuck they wanted, and boy did they.
Gotcha.
And it's incredible.
Gotcha.
Goriest fucking show I think I've seen in a long time, and it's great.
Gotcha.
Oh god, dude, it's so good. I can't sing Edge Runners praise enough. Like, it almost made me give a shit about going back to Cyberpunk.
Oh, like the game?
Yeah. I mean, it made most people give a shit about going back. It's been at #1 playing on Steam for like a week now.
Wow.
After it was like off the board for the last year. It has a higher play count, I believe, than even when it launched.
Oh my goodness.
So,
wow.
like,
so this is a very successful
It really worked.
adaptation.
And it's good because
I mean, good for them.
Yeah, especially because now the game is in a state that it actually works. Because like most games today, nothing releases works.
Right.
And
because isn't it always like a game will release and then like a month later they send out patches of being like, here's like, here, download this to fix X, Y, and Z problem.
The problem becomes, and I mean, there's multiple stages to any problem, obviously. And you could argue that once anyone could just really release a patch to fix a game, it didn't really matter anymore. They could just put it out and fucking post it later. But the problem with Cyberpunk specifically, and a problem with a lot of games usually nowadays, like big title games, is you have stockholders that you need to answer to.
Right.
And with Cyberpunk, they kept delaying the game. It was like a meme.
I remember this being a thing. Like, I'm not like embroiled in video game world, but I do remember Cyberpunk specifically kept being brought up because it was like delay kind of thing. And then I remember when the game dropped, everybody was losing their shit because like certain parts of the game they couldn't use or like wasn't working.
So broken. But so they kept delaying it. This is why I've had the whole theory, and I think our whole thing, which I think I've said on the podcast before, that I'm like, games shouldn't announce that they exist until
they're like ready to launch.
Right. Like, and nobody would ever do that because you need stockholders to know the games that people have interest in.
They gotta
in the game.
just pull a Beyonce. They just gotta be like, here's my new album.
Right. Well, yeah, because it works for someone like Beyonce.
Right.
But like, but
if you're a company, like,
right, like the stockholders need to know that people have interest in this game. So you can't spend fucking $5 billion. Obviously, it didn't cost that much.
Right.
But $5 billion on Cyberpunk 2077, and nobody knows about it until it's already like finished, and then you could be like, hey, this game comes out in 6 months.
Right.
You know, and then you spend that 6 months just advertising the fuck out of it.
Right.
Because sure, then you'd find out if people are interested, but you already spent all the fucking money. So
Right,
if you put that out and then people are like, oh, I don't give a fuck.
In comparison, let's just use Beyonce as like the comparison here.
Right.
One, Beyonce is at the point in her career, I mean, she has been for some time now, where she made the change, like the change from being like extremely, you know, kind of pop heavy with R&B influences, but very, very much like mainstream friendly.
Right.
Right. And then she made the change to being more like artsy fartsy and more heavily R&B and those kinds of things. But once she made that change in her career, she was already such a established household name artist that my grandmother could tell you who Beyonce is. You know what I mean? And my grandma's 85 years old.
Yeah.
So when she does something like that of, oh, my album's out now, go buy it, people are going to go buy it, regardless if it's good or not, because it's Beyonce, one. And for Beyonce to make an album costs her not that much money, in like realistically, compared to the sales that you know she would make regardless of how good that album is going to be, solely based off of like name value. She's going to make a huge profit margin regardless, you know?
Apparently Cyberpunk estimated to cost $313 million.
Right. So let's say Beyonce's album. This
Making
is just
it one of the most expensive games ever made.
Let's just say Beyonce's album costs her like $100,000 to produce, right?
Right.
Which I don't know how much money it takes to make an album, but that's just a number that I'm putting out there. So let's say it costs her $100,000 just to make the album, right? Written down, tracks, blah, 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 everything. And then at this point, how many physical copies are really being sold? You know what I mean? I feel like everybody's buying on digital. I mean, some people will buy the physicals just to have it, but she could make back that 100,000. I feel like in 30 minutes of announcing that she dropped another album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas if you have 300 and something million dollars that you're spending on making a game, I feel like people who make, because the game itself, like, what's the average cost of a new game? $80, $60?
I believe now it used to be 60. I think now it average is going to be 70.
Okay, so let's say.
But you don't really make your money back on game sales.
No, I know.
Yeah.
But let's say game sales, you already know there's no way you're gonna reach that $300 million mark, right? But let's say you make 30%. You make $100 million on game sales alone.
Right.
The people make, if I was making a product, I'd be like, okay, I'm only gonna get 30% back.
Right.
Like, no one's gonna make that kind of investment on their own. You know what I mean? Like, put that much money into a project that they know they're not gonna get any kind of like break-even return on by themselves. So you get investors, but then investors are like, hey, if I'm putting $50 million into this, here's my input, even though I know nothing about games.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. So it's that problem, like, because investors need to know people are interested because they're spending that much money. Obviously, stockholders need to know that people are interested to keep putting in money. So you could never, I mean, like CD Projekt Red, the people that made Cyberpunk's game,
right?
Are a huge name brand. They've done The Witcher, like they've done things that people know are great.
Right.
And so, like, they are arguably a household name, but even still, it's like, you know, Rockstar. They make some of the fucking biggest and most incredible games, like, depending on how you view incredible, but, like, games there are. They still need to market the shit out of their games, like, because the stockholders also still need to know that people are interested. So, like, it doesn't really matter how good you are as a name. People need to know.
Right.
Like, the stockholders always will need to know. And the problem with Cyberpunk was that they kept delaying it, and then the stockholders were like, you gotta fucking put this game out. Like, you don't get any more delays. You have to put it out.
Right.
And so then they just got screwed. So, like, every time they delayed it, they were kept getting told, you have to fucking put this game out. So they just started cutting features because nothing was working yet. And so they were like, all right. So they started cutting stuff out of the game. Like, there used to be wall running. They cut that out. Like, there used to be, you know, all this stuff. And they were like, all right. And so it ends up, you know, bare bonesing the game a bit to things that.
And then you're diminishing the quality of the product.
Yeah, and then you have to just put it out even though it's fucking broken. And then they had the whole thing where, like, people were fucking suing them. They were having to refund the game. Like, it was a nightmare. And I'm sure that if they go to make a sequel, the same thing will probably happen again.
Sure. I mean, it's like with like major blockbuster movies where the studios are like, hey, we got to put out this movie. We, like, you know what I mean? Because a lot of times, you know, like, movies want to be put out at certain times of the year for optimal, you know, ticket sales or whatever.
The publisher makes $27 out of a $60 physical.
Whew.
So retail, these are all approximations.
Right.
And apparently this was in 2010. Retailer margin is $15, returns $7, distribution costs $4, platform royalties $7.
The retailer gets 15
apparently
out of 60.
Yeah,
they're getting 25%.
They're selling your game.
That's a lot.
And in 2010, there wasn't a digital market. So that was
there
the only
wasn't a digital market in 2010.
I
guess not in
Steam,
the way
Steam probably existed.
I was gonna say, but not in the way it is now. I'm sure.
No, I guess there was because Microsoft, because Xbox 360 had a digital form, but it's not to the same extent.
No.
People still bought.
Right.
You didn't have storage spaces to hold that kind of stuff.
That's true. I feel like physicals were definitely more of a thing.
Yeah. I'm sure there are people out there that were like, I was downloading games back in 2007 actually, and I'm like, oh well, good fucking job for you. So yeah, I mean, they're the ones that have to sell your game. So and then the platform royalty. So apparently, whatever platform you buy it on, they get a share. And then the publisher got $27. So technically, the publisher did get most of the money, but it wasn't even 50%.
No,
it's shy of 50%.
I mean, I'm not really surprised that they don't get 50% back.
Yeah, so
because I feel like that's a pretty big percentage.
Yeah, they get about like 28%, something like that, somewhere around there.
No, if they get, what'd you say, $27? Yeah, so they're getting like 40.
But I said 28. I meant 48, like 49. Yeah, somewhere around there.
I was like 28. That's not even close.
Yeah, no, not 20. So, is what it is, I guess. But yeah, you don't usually ever make money back from that. That's why, fucking like microtransaction stuff became a thing.
I was gonna say, is that why there's so much like in-game purchasing?
Sure is why, because it started with DLC, right? It started with being able to buy a fucking hat for your horse or whatever.
Yeah, something stupid.
I'm pretty sure like the first thing of DLC was like buying a hat for something.
Yeah, because like, if you're fucking 13 and you're like, Mom, but I want to buy this hat for my horse in this game.
And then people were like, all right, well, hey, we could do a DLC of like, everyone was started doing DLC of cosmetics, but you could easily just fucking ignore that. Then people started doing like season passes for new maps or like in the game or new stories and stuff like that, which was fun because like at least you're getting a new story. You're like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'll spend $20 on a new story so I can play this game again that I already beat like fucking a year and a half ago.
Right.
And then somebody went, wait a minute, what if we charge people for extra stories and we charge them for in-game cosmetics that actually make them play better?
Right.
Because it was like boosting their
pay
shit.
To play.
Yeah. And so then people were like, oh, fuck yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's make a fuck ton of money. And so then they put that shit in. And then everyone was like, hey, yo, I can win this game if I start, I can be better at this game if I fucking pay like $20 for this like specific skin. And then everybody starts thinking that and starts spending $20. And then it's all that profit goes to you. Like, it doesn't go to anyone else, really.
Right, because you don't have to distribute that it's not a physical product you have to distribute. You just upload it.
Yep. So then everyone was like, well, why the fuck wouldn't we do that? And that's the problem. Because it makes no sense to not do it. Like,
yeah,
and so you can't even be mad.
You have a disadvantage by not doing it if you're playing the game.
Right. Like, you can't be mad about it. But you can be. But you can't. Because these companies aren't making fucking money unless you're like Blizzard and shit like that.
I was going to say.
They're fucking rolling in it. But, like, for the most part, it's just you're making so much money off of it, it doesn't make sense not to. And that's why you have like, Ubisoft and shit like that where they're like, obviously we're going to fucking put in microtransactions, like, duh. And you're like, I hate you because you're a fucking, $1 billion corporation, but also it makes sense.
Right.
Because if I was a $1 billion corporation, I'd also think the same fucking thing. Of course I'd want to make more money.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what you do. That is your job.
Think about a game like Pokemon Go, which you play on your fucking phone. Do you know how many items you can purchase on Pokemon Go? I think there's like 50 or 60 different items you can purchase.
Right.
And I don't even want to think about how much money Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo.
Technically, yeah.
Yeah.
But Poketeam.
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
How much money they're making off of just those transactions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you think about it, you're like, you can buy, like you said, like cosmetic things. You can buy like a new shirt or whatever.
Yeah. You run out of Pokeballs. Fuck it, I could spend $5 today.
Yeah, I'll just spend $5 and I'll get 100 Pokeballs. Great. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all it takes. It's all it takes. It's all it takes. It's the same thing with like GTA and fucking Overwatch before they made a Battle Pass thing or the new Halo. Like, you can technically do all those things and buy the things in the game without paying real money.
Right.
technically.
I mean,
but you need to grind the game for fucking 3 years to do it.
So
and by the time you get to the point where you could have bought it, it's already gone because it was only there for like 3 months.
Yeah, it was a limited thing. And now that you've spent all that time grinding, there's new exciting things which you can't use anyway because you don't have enough to grind. You didn't grind enough for it.
Like some people like break that shit down where I think literally, so Overwatch 2 just launched yesterday. It's a nightmare. But like nobody can get in. Kieran's actually getting in kind of frequently. I haven't gotten in once.
Oh, the server is like messed up for it?
They keep getting DDoS.
DDoS?
They keep getting cyber attacked.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Why?
Because people fucking hate people.
Oh, okay.
It just is what it is. Also, they shut down Overwatch 1, so you can't even go play that. Like, they just...
Wait, what? To force you to play the 2?
Well, 'cause it's free to play.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if you had Overwatch 1, all your stuff carries over to 2. But, like, you can't get into the game, so you can't even go back to the old game while you wait.
Rip.
Like... also, fun fact, if you have Cricket Wireless or any phone service that doesn't have a contract, you can't get in. They require you to put your phone number in because they want to track your data. And if you don't have a contract, you can't track the person's data. So anybody with a phone number that isn't tied to a contract from a big line company can't make a profile to get into the game because they can't sell your data. So why the fuck do they want you in?
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
New form of classism.
That's okay. So
now not only can you not play original Overwatch that you already owned, you can't play new Overwatch because you're
then you just lose all your shit?
I mean, it still exists technically, but you just can't play it.
That's ridiculous. Okay,
so
as
now I can judge you for not having money to pay for a regular phone service. How dare you be poor?
I used to have Cricket Wireless, and before that, I had Virgin Mobile forever.
They let you on Virgin Mobile?
I had it when I was 16. Okay. Anyway.
They let you on Virgin Mobile?
Anyway, I only made the change to AT&T about a year ago, only because my phone bill would be cheaper because I was going onto a family plan.
Right.
But for the longest time, it was cheaper for me to use Cricket or Virgin Mobile or Boost Mobile or whatever, other...
No, yeah.
Right. Like budget...
People can't afford Verizon or AT&T. I understand, obviously.
Right. Because $35 a month for unlimited internet talks, like phone calls and texting, yeah. Why would I spend more money than I need to for that? You know what I mean? Like, because I think AT&T, how much is it for a single line? It's probably like $60 a month or more.
Probably.
For one line.
I don't know. I'm on my dad's family plan. I pay him for it, but I don't.
Right.
Remember. I don't even know how much I'm paying him for it. I just have it set up so I don't have to think about it.
Yeah. But it's like, that's the most insane shit I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. New form of classism. You can't afford a regular phone plan? Fuck yourself.
That's so weird to me.
They can't sell your data. You're useless to them.
Damn.
But
what if you have like, I guess if it's tied to the phone number, because like I have like Verizon.
Literally,
Internet.
I tried skipping that whole thing. They don't let you get in the game. I was like, I don't want to fucking give you my phone number, and you can't get in the game without giving them the phone number.
Is that like a United States thing, or?
I think it's everywhere. Because Blizzard's a UK company.
Gotcha.
So.
No, because I'm just wondering, because I mean they don't have like. I guess AT&T is a major enough company at this point that they probably are everywhere.
They probably have it for any company that's major
enough in each country.
I assume.
But that's so weird to me.
Yeah, it's
like,
it's kind of crazy.
That might be one of the most bizarre things I've ever heard in like recent like purchasing things, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. But my point was about that was there's a battle pass now. So they used to have loot boxes, which you know that premise,
I kind of know what that is.
Yeah. So loot
you
boxes
like get stuff, right?
Yeah. Loot boxes are also like it's just allowed gambling for children. And they
because you can spend real money on.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks, but at the very least, like if you play 3 games, you get a loot box kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Like, or if you play certain types of games and stuff. So like it was fine. Like I used to play Overwatch religiously when it first came out. I was gonna say when I was a kid, technically, but whatever.
You
when
were
it first
teenager.
came out, yeah. And I played it enough that I actually unlocked most of the character's shit just by playing.
Right.
Like, so, and that's a lot of playing, but like it wasn't even that bad because I don't even think I have close to some of my friends' numbers, and I still was able to unlock a bunch of shit. And sure, at some point I bought some loot boxes because I was like, oh, there's an event going on. I didn't play a lot for this event.
Yeah, for
'cause
funsies.
I was yeah.
That's where they get you.
Right, because I was like, I didn't play a lot for this event, and you know what? There's a skin I want, so fuck it, I'll spend $20 and whatever. But I didn't do that often. Like I tried to make sure I wasn't doing that. I would just try to play and get it myself. But yeah, so maybe throughout, let's say I played it for 3 years pretty consistently. I maybe put in like a bit over $100 in those 3 years.
Just fine.
Right, maybe. But with this game, with Overwatch 2, they made it a battle pass system, which is for X amount of time, there is a like unlock tier list that if you play enough and you get enough XP and like you do challenges, you unlock a new spot in the ladder.
Okay.
So like each rung of the ladder, you get a new unlock, and when it starts out, it's usually just like small shit, like a keychain on your weapon kind of thing.
Okay.
And then like if there's 100 rungs, like 50 is like a big thing, like you know, like a new skin or a new character, whatever.
Right.
And then so stuff like that, and like big markers are cooler, interesting things. And in this game, somebody already did all the math for how much coins you need to get to the top level, and it's 8 months. You would have to grind the game nonstop for 8 months to be able to get to unlock one legendary skin
without paying for it.
Yeah, 8 months to get one skin, not even like anything like all that interesting, just one skin. Like, I used to be able to grind enough that, like, just playing, that I could probably get enough loot boxes that I would get enough money from to be able to get a skin in maybe like a bit over a week. You know,
but I'm
maybe
sure
2.
also then it was much.
It was still a lot of playing.
No, I'm not saying in terms of like playing ratio to like reward ratio. Like you still, I'm sure, played a shitload, but I'm saying like I'm sure if you pay that same amount now, the reward is significantly less.
Like that, I think the person that did those calculations was putting it in as like you are just playing this game. Like you're
nonstop.
grinding the fuck out of this game nonstop. It would take like 8 months.
That's insane. So, did you ever play RuneScape as a kid?
No.
Okay, so
Did you have a RuneScape boyfriend?
no, I didn't play really. But my brother used to play a lot.
Right.
To the point where actually he would go create accounts and then max out certain skills.
Mm-hmm.
So he would just sit there and grind them. Because
Right.
I think the maximum is like 99 or it's like 999, something like that, to max out a skill. So he would go and max out certain skills and then sell those characters to the people that wanted those max skills.
Right.
So, but it's just weird because like that's such a like mom and pop shop version of essentially what's become like the normal like standard now,
Right.
but major companies are forcing you to like buy into it.
Yeah.
Where like
I never thought that I would miss a loot box system,
right.
you know, like because it is gambling. It is pure luck. You open that loot box, you could get all fucking commons.
Right, you
40
don't know what's
times
in
in
it.
a row. Like
Commons, like items?
yeah, like there's a common, a rare, a very rare, and a legendary.
Of items
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah. Like a ranking of items.
Oh, okay.
So you could open up like 30 loot boxes and technically get like commons each time for all 4, because it would launch 4 things out.
Gotcha.
But like you played enough, and for the most part, it didn't screw you for that many commons. But like if you played enough, any duplicate you got because you already had it, you got money for. So I played it enough that I was basically just getting money every single time I opened a loot box. So by the time another event happened, I was rolling in cash. I was like, fuck yeah, I can just buy the skin and not worry about it.
Right.
But
8 months to work on one skin seems like a bit much.
For one skin, it's not worth it.
No.
It isn't. Like, it's just not worth it.
Because how much is it to purchase? Like the legendary.
I don't know. I think it's probably like $30.
Okay, so let's the comparison 8 months of your life for $30.
Let's find out. Okay, now so 8 months for $20.
It's even worse.
I believe that's right. Because a legendary skin costs 1,900 Overwatch coins. And players will have to complete all of their weekly challenges for 8 months straight to unlock a single skin.
That's ridiculous.
So you have to do every challenge for 8 months straight to get one skin.
So how many challenges are there in a week? Like, could you bang it out all in one day?
I mean, you probably could, but you still would have to wait every week to do it, and then
you're
and
waiting.
Then you have to wait 8 months.
Do it 8 months worth of time.
Yeah, like, which is just absurd. And yeah, so completing all your weekly challenges is 30 coins.
You only get 30?
Oh, sorry.
Do you get coins any other way? Or
You get 50, sorry, apparently.
Oh, okay.
For every month, it seems.
50 in a month?
Week, sorry.
I was like, that makes
50 a
even
week.
less sense.
So yeah, so 100 Overwatch coins are valued at $1.
Oh, okay.
So
it's roughly $19.
$20 to get one skin. So $20 or 8 months of your life.
Yeah, that like.
And most people that will give enough of a shit will spend the $20.
Right.
It's just.
I don't know if this is just me, but I can barely. Like, I have figurines, right? But even then, like, this is probably my most expensive figurine. And even then, like, I remember when I was purchasing, I was like, this is stupid. Why the fuck am I spending so much money on this? This is a physical, tangible item.
Right.
I could not imagine spending money on a digital item.
Yeah, but you can flex on everybody when you're playing against them with your cool skin that they don't have. It literally is the mindset.
Like, I just can't.
Or there's a hot girl that you can make even hotter with less clothes.
I guess I just
or
because
goth aesthetic.
I don't like play video games like that.
Right.
Because even the video games I do play are not like multiplayer online games. So I just can't understand one, doing that much grinding for anything.
Right.
And two, spending real physical dollars on a digital item.
I've played games and grinded a lot before. Like, fucking, you know, it's not even really grinding, but, well, no, it is. Like Persona 5, I have played 200 hours of, like, 3 times.
Oh my goodness.
Because I 100%ed it 3 times. Well, I 100%ed it twice. My first playthrough, I fucked up one thing, so I didn't get the 100% because I couldn't go back and fix it.
Sad.
I was so sad. I was
like the
so
biggest,
annoyed.
That seems like the biggest disappointment ever.
Because, so, in Persona, you have these characters that you can interact with.
Right.
And they are usually connected to, like, tarot cards. And you can, like, increase your bond with these characters, and you're supposed to reach a certain rank, and you can max them out. So, like, you know, I don't know if it's the same for all of them, but in Persona 5, you get to rank 10 with all the characters.
Right.
And you do that, and you get bonuses and stuff. I fucked up one character, and I couldn't get him to level 10 before the game was beat. So I only got him to level 9. And I needed to do, like, one thing, and I just didn't. I missed the day I was supposed to do it. And, like, my save... And I didn't realize until I was already at the end. So then I didn't have the saves. So
you
I
don't religiously save?
I do, but, like, you only have so many save spots. and I didn't realize it until the end of the game, where I was like getting there and I was like, oh, I need to go do like the thing to get to this guy, and it was already too far into the game that I couldn't go back to do that one thing. And I was like, I was so mad. The fucking airsoft gun guy.
Oh my god, I would be so pissed off.
So, I've 100%ed it twice. I played it again almost immediately. And then
out of spite on yourself.
Yeah, and then and I got really lucky actually, to be fair, because that first playthrough I just played blind. Like I didn't look up anything to do it. I looked up how to do it the second time because I wanted to make sure I didn't fuck it up again.
Right.
But like I got to 100% or 98 or whatever the fuck.
Right.
Like I did everything you're supposed to be able to do in that game just by playing it the first time through. Like
that's pretty good.
But it's also because it's one of those games that like I religiously like love like the planning aspect behind it. So I'm because if like a regular person, like if you were playing that game, you'd probably not get anywhere close to that.
Right.
But like I'm like one of those people where I'm like, all right, how do I maximize my time in this game for the day? Because like the days matter, so you got to plan everything. So you know, I just. But then the second time through, I was like, all right, what's the optimal way to like play out each day?
Wait, what do you mean the days matter?
Okay, so in Persona, you play within like the time span of, let's just say, a year.
Okay.
And so then you know
you only have a year to do it.
Yeah. So
in-game time.
Yeah. So you go to sleep. You wake up. It's a Monday. You have to go to school. You go to school. You have to, you know, answer some random questions. You get to increase some skills after school. You have only so much time to do specific things because you go after school. If you go and study, that takes up your afternoon, and then it's night. And then you have to do something in the night. And then once you do something in the night, you can't do something again, so you got to go to bed and wake up, and then you have to go to school.
Oh,
so
I understand.
So you have to like, plan out what you're doing in the day to maximize what you can get done.
I understand.
So like you have to go talk to certain people on certain days, which means your afternoon or your night is already has to be like scheduled. Like it's not actually scheduled. So if
that day goes by, you can't go back?
So like one of the characters who is the sun tarot card, he's only out he's out at night only at certain days. So you have to go to him when he's there, which means you have to know when he's going to be there, and you know that night is already going to be taken up by talking to him. Like it's that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
So
yeah, that seems like a pain in the ass.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun, and you don't have to do any of that.
Right.
Like it helps you because you get boosts and
knowing
stuff,
me, like if I was to play that, the in-game like year time would go by. I'd be like, wait, I didn't get anything done.
But it's great. Like so the second time through, I looked up a guy because some people have brought this up where they're like, why didn't you just do it yourself? Like it's like I already did it myself the first time, and I know like I basically knew where I fucked up. But then the second time, I wanted to like know what the optimal route was.
You wanted to do it for sure.
Yeah. So like then I was like, oh, I still did it, but like the optimal way to do everything, I could have actually gotten some better stuff earlier on, but like I did it way later. And so I just found that interesting for my own knowledge of being like, oh, like this is how I could have done this.
Right.
And it was like, and it didn't feel like it was cheapening anything because I was like,
you would hate the way I play games.
I know.
Because I'm so willy-nilly. I'm running all over the place.
I've told you how I played Breath of the Wild first, right?
No, what'd you do?
Okay, so I do this for every game that's kind of like Breath of the Wild, where it's like an open world to begin with. I will play the story until it lets me roam free in the entire world. So for Breath of the Wild, that was just doing the tutorial, and then you can go wherever the fuck you want. For most games, it's about that, or a little past that.
Right.
But then you get the free roam of the world, and if it's a game that has the free roam of the world, but you have to like do certain things to fill out the map, like in Breath of the Wild, you have to go to the towers,
every tower,
the spire, or in Assassin's Creed, it's synchronization points. I will, once I get free reign, spend my entire time when I start the game just going to every single place to fill out the map until it is full, and then once I have the whole map available to me, then I'll start going to things to unlock more stuff. Like I'll go to shrines instead of like I do everything before I do the story until I can't do it. Like technically there were some like towers that you are not supposed to be able to do until you have certain like gadgets. Like there's one in the like water surrounded by like lightning lizards or whatever.
Right.
Like you're supposed to have the freeze power to get over the water.
You can just swim to it.
Right, but then you could also run out of stamina if you're, because I was like one of the first ones.
Oh, right. If you have one circle.
Yeah. So, because if you have to swim to it and you have to avoid all the guys.
Wait, but you should have had the freeze power after the tutorial, right?
Probably. I don't remember. But
bleeding?
Yeah, I get a nose bleeds randomly when it gets cold.
Oh, okay.
But like, yeah, you're not supposed to be able to get to certain things.
Right.
And I just go, fuck it. I'm gonna keep doing it until I can fucking get it. So like those fucking lizards, I just kept throwing like shit at them long distance until it worked.
I am so awful in that when I started playing, because so every time I would get an objective, right, it would be like, go do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
I would go and try and do it, but I only had like 2 pieces of the map. So I kept going super far away and not knowing where the fuck I was going, and then I would forget certain things, and it was just the biggest mess in the world. I think I've spent more time just trying to get from point A to point B than I have doing anything else.
The way you play hurts me.
It hurts me too.
It hurts me on such a fundamental level.
Like, Colin gave me his copy of Arceus, and I'm gonna give it a try. I just know it's gonna be a mess already.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also didn't really even like Arceus.
I know, you said that. I feel like I'm gonna like it.
I found it very empty and kind of boring.
Oh, wah, wah.
Like, I would have rather a Gale of Darkness or something.
Gotcha. That's fair.
Anyway,
Mike's nose is bleeding, so we're gonna wrap it up.
and it's an hour.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so hey, thanks for watching this week's episode of the Vaguely Anime Podcast. Don't forget to check out Kat at Kat the Moonstar on Twitch. And you have 3 weeks to watch Trigun. So get on that. And yeah, that'll be everything. So see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.